Today we will study some more interaction. First interaction we will study is commensalism. Commensalism is a type of interaction in which one species is benefited and the other species is neither benefited or nor harmed. I'll explain commensalism with help of certain example. First example is whales and barnacles. Barnacles are certain crustaceous animals that grow on the back of whales. As they move along with whales, they cover large distance and they get abundant food, whereas the whale is in this relationship, whale is neither harmed nor get any benefit. Next example of commensalism is cattles and egrets. Egrets are tiny birds that can be seen near cattles. When the cattles they move in field, they expose certain insects. And those insects are eaten by egrets. Egrets are the birds. In this relation also, cattle is neither benefited nor harmed, whereas egret get the food. Next example is sea anemone and clownfish. Clownfish are a type of fish that live in stinging tentacles of sea anemone. As they live in the tentacles of sea anemone, it gets protected, while the sea anemone neither get any benefit or there is no loss also. Next example is orchid and tree. Orchids grow on the branches of trees because in forest enough light don't reach the forest floor, so they grow on branches of trees, and that tree, in this relationship, the tree is neither benefited nor harmed, while the orchid get abundant light. Next, amensalism. It is a type of interaction in which one species is harmed and other species get neither benefit nor harmed. Example of amensalism is penicillium. Penicillium is a type of fungus. Penicillium do not allow the growth of bacteria as they secrete penicillin. So in this interaction, the penicillium is neither get any benefit or nor it is harmed, whereas the bacteria is getting harmed. Last interaction we will study is mutualism. It is a type of interaction in which both the interacting species get benefit. Certain examples of mutualism are lichen. Lichen is association between fungi and algae. The fungus component help in absorption of nutrient and water, whereas algal component help in it provides the fungi food as it can photosynthesize. Next is mycorrhiza. Next example of mutualism is mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is an association between roots of higher plants and fungi. Here the fungus help in absorption of nutrients and water from the soil, whereas the higher plant provides fungus with food. And another example of mutualism is relationship of plants and its pollinator. Pollinators help plant in pollination. Pollinators help plant in pollination. Like pollinators are like, and there are many pollinators like insects, birds, and many other. Whereas plant give certain benefits to the pollinator in form of nectar, pollens, and many other benefits. These two, lichen and mycorrhiza, are permanent association, whereas plants and pollinator is temporary association. Because the insects, they keep moving from one plants to another. So that's all for population interaction. Next we will study biodiversity and conservation. Next we will study about biodiversity and its conservation. In our biosphere we have huge amount of diversity ranging from macromolecules to biosphere. The term biodiversity was popularized by Edward Wilson to describe biodiversity at all the levels of biological organization. So we can say that biodiversity is diversity at all the levels of organization, or we can say diversity exists at all these levels of organization. Like macromolecules will form the cells will form the tissue will form the organ will form the organ systems together form organism, and many organisms of same species form the population, and many species population form the community, and many communities will form the ecosystem. Many larger ecosystem will form the biome, and then biomes will form the biosphere. So we can say biodiversity is diversity at all the levels of organization. We can also say that biodiversity is sum total of all the living organisms like plants, animal, and other organisms is called biodiversity. We can study biodiversity at all these levels of organization, but the most important of them are genetic diversity, second is species diversity, and third is ecosystem diversity. Genetic diversity is the diversity within species. Genetic diversity is diversity within species. Within species there is huge amount of diversity. For example, dog belongs to single species, but we can find different types of dogs around us, like they have differences in fur color, differences in height, differences in length of ear, tail. So these are nothing but genetic, this is nothing but genetic diversity, because they have different genetic makeup. Similarly, we have many varieties of mango and rice. In both, the species are same, but we have different varieties, and those varieties are nothing but genetic diversity. Similarly, in medicinal plant Ruvolfia vomitoria, it has certain medicinal properties which is known as rhizopine. This medicinal plant grows at different height of Himalayas. The Ruvolfia that is found on the top of Himalayas, they have higher concentration of rhizopine, whereas Ruvolfia that grow on lower side, lower Himalayas, they have lower concentration of rhizopine. So this is nothing but genetic diversity. Next is species diversity. Species diversity is the diversity that exists between species. It is the diversity that exists in species. Example, we can say that number of amphibians is greater in Western Ghat than Eastern Ghat. Next is ecosystem diversity. It is the diversity at the ecosystem level. Example, for example, in India we have different type of ecosystem like mangroves, estuaries, deserts, alpine meadow. And if we compare with that of Norway, Norway has only grassland, so we can say that ecosystem diversity is more in India compared to Norway. We talked about different types of diversity. Next we will see how much diversity we have. According to ICUN, the total number of plants and animal species discovered or studied so far is 1.5 million. And also some other scientists believe that there are more than 20 millions of plants and animal species. And according to some scientists like Robert May, that is more scientific and logical estimate, the global species diversity is about 7 million, which is more than that of ICUN. So out of 1.5 million of different species of plants and animal described by ICUN, 70% of them are animals, 22% are plants, and remaining are the prokaryotes like bacteria. India has only 2.4% of world's land area, which is quite less, but its share of global species diversity is 8.1, which is quite huge. So here in these figures we can see the diversity of different species. For example, if we talk about invertebrates, then majority of the diversity is of insects, followed by mollusks, then crustacean. And if we see vertebrates, then majority of species are of fishes, followed by birds, then reptiles, amphibians and mammals. And if we talk about plants, majority is fungus, followed by angiosperm, then algae, then moss, ferns, and then lichens. Next we will talk about loss of biodiversity, and the reason for loss of biodiversity is mainly due to human activities. Here I list some of the reasons for the loss of biodiversity. First is habit loss and fragmentation. Second is overexploitation. Third is invasion of alien species. Fourth is co-extinction. First is habitat loss and fragmentation. In habitat loss and fragmentation, what we do is humans, they cut down trees for various reasons, for cultivation, they cut down the forest, for industrial purpose they cut down the forest, and for many other activities they cut down the forest, and because of that the habitat of animal get disturbed. Next we will study about loss of biodiversity. There are many reasons for loss of biodiversity. They are habitat loss and fragmentation. Second is overexploitation. Third is invasion of alien species, and fourth is co-extinction. Humans cut down forests for various reasons, for cultivation purpose and for building homes, industries. So in that case the habitat gets disturbed, and due to human activities the habitat also get fragmented. Like the tropical rainforest, earlier it had total cover of 14% on earth, now it has reduced to 6% due to human activities, and because of that it leads to extinction, as many animals like birds and mammals, they need large territory. Next is overexploitation. From nature we get many things like food, shelter and many things. So when we overexploit the nature, then also many species get extinct. Like dodo bird, it is killed for its meat. Similarly, many fishes are over harvested, so they get extinct. Next is invasion of alien species. Alien species means the species that are not found in that natural area. Like when we introduce certain species, the species which are already there in that particular place, or the local species or indigenous species, they get extinct because the alien species, they multiply at high rate because their natural predator is not there. One such example is Nile perch. When this Nile perch was introduced in Victoria Lake, 200 species of kiklit fish got extinct. Similarly, fourth reason for the biodiversity loss is co-extinction. There are many plants and animals, many organisms which are interdependent, like relationship of pollinator and pollination. Like if the pollinator is not there, plant won't get pollinated, so they will get extinct. Similarly, when the dodo bird got extinct, Calvaria tree also got extinct, because this dodo bird feeds on Calvaria tree, and the Calvaria tree only germinates when the seeds are eaten by dodo bird. Next is conservation of biodiversity. Why do we conserve biodiversity? It can be grouped into three categories: narrow utilitarian or some kind of narrow vision, or broad utilitarian or broad spectrum, or ethical or moral value. First I'll describe narrow utilitarian. Narrow utilitarian says that we get many things from nature, like we get food, like we get shelter, we get construction materials, we get many medicinal plants, we get many industrial products. So there is a need of biodiversity for these reasons. Whereas broad utilitarian or broad spectrum, it says that we need to conserve biodiversity as ecosystem provides us with many important things, like the fresh air that we breathe, we also get from ecosystem, and pleasure of walking through a forest, chirping sounds of birds, watching flowers bloom. All these are only possible if we conserve the biodiversity. Next is ethical or moral values. The planet Earth do not belong to humans, it belongs to animals, it belongs to plant also, and we do not have any right to harm them. Next we will study how do we conserve the biodiversity. There are two main approaches to conserve the biodiversity. First is in situ conservation. Second is ex situ conservation. In situ conservation, we conserve the diversity on site, like conservation is done on the site. Another is ex situ conservation. Ex situ is also called off-site conservation. In situ conservation, if we have to conserve certain animal or plant, we conserve them in its own natural habitat. Like suppose if we have to conserve the tiger, we won't take out the tiger from its habitat, we will conserve the tiger in its own habitat. We declare that area as national park, wildlife sanctuary and biosphere reserve, and no activities are allowed in these areas, or only some partly activities are allowed. Next is ex situ conservation or off-site conservation. In this type of conservation, when the habitat is no more suitable for an organism or some animal or plant, we take out the animal or plant from their original habitat, and we construct similar kind of habitat outside, like in form of zoo, zoological park or botanical garden. And we can also preserve the gametes through process like cryopreservation. In cryopreservation, we store them at very low temperature of below 190 degrees Celsius. And also we can do tissue culture for plants, and seeds of commercially important plants can also be stored in seed bank. In today's class, we also studied about biodiversity and conservation. Biodiversity means sum total of diversity at all the levels of organization, and out of them we studied three types of diversity which are the most important. First is genetic diversity, second is species diversity, and third is ecological diversity. And then we also studied like how many different varieties of how much is the variation in organism. Like there are 1.5 million of different organisms on earth according to ICUN. Then we also studied about the loss of biodiversity, and then we also studied about conservation of biodiversity also. So that's all for today. See you all some other time. Till then, take care and stay safe. Julie.